Welcome to Miniatures Rundown. I'm Kevin, and today we're going to have some fun. So previously in this Running Your Own Gaming Group video series, we've talked about the general principles of running your own gaming group and how to deal with problem people. So now that we've gotten the hard stuff out of the way, let's talk about what's fun and how to have fun. And really importantly, how to help your players have fun. One of the big challenges of running a gaming group is making sure that everyone's engaged and having a way to interact with the hobby and interact with the rest of the group in a way that satisfies them and makes it worthwhile for them to come and spend time with you and spend time with the group. So this is where you get to have a lot of fun as an organizer and start thinking about the things that you would like to do. Every group is going to be different. No two groups are the same. And just like people, well, hopefully your group is made up of all people and not AI or abominable intelligences, but we're not at that point in the future yet. Anyway, the important thing is that you provide an environment that is fun and engaging and makes people want to come back. So how do you do that? Well, coming from experience, I'll talk about things that I've experienced first and things that I've done, and then talk about things that I've thought about doing or things that are theory that could work for your group. Kind of just depending upon the makeup of who is playing with you. So in my 40K and Age of Sigmar group that I help head up, the main thing is that we have a big mix of players of all kinds of different dispositions. We have players that are pretty hardcore and very competitive minded, and we have players that are busy dads that are just coming to play with toy soldiers and everything in between. So it's pretty hard to cater to a group that has all those different types of people and ways to enjoy the hobby and make it fun for everybody. So what do I do? So what I've done is I make it really just kind of a semi-organized open play day where people come in, wait around, chat for a half hour or so, and then when comes time to play, and I put their name into a randomizer, I hit the randomizer, and that's who plays who. Now, yeah, sure, that sounds really simple. There's a little bit of nuance to it too. I also take some time before setting up the randomizer to tell people, hey, it's okay if you and a specific person want to play a game together, go ahead and go set up a table and play. Or, if you have a certain amount of points, say a newer player, which we have several now, especially with 11th coming out, and we always have new people coming in and out of Age of Sigmar, we let them know that, hey, it's okay if you're not at 2,000 points. It's okay if you're not at the quote-unquote standard amount for the current game or the current season. We say at the beginning, hey, if you're paired up with this individual, if you would not mind pairing down to that many points, feel free to let us know if that doesn't work for you. And then we'll make sure to pair you with somebody that you would like to play with. And we can get that person who doesn't have as much paired with somebody who would like to play that game at that level. That does so much to help people feel welcome. And that is, I cannot overstate how important it is for people to feel welcome, especially when they're new to the hobby, or if they're just new to the group in general. Like I've talked about in our problem person video, we're in a hobby space where the social graces are not the most well expressed in this hobby. And that's okay. I'm one of those people too. Making sure that everyone feels like they belong and they're welcome, and removing as many barriers to them interacting with the hobby and interacting with the group as you can, aside from like buying them an army, which, you don't do that. That kind of people pleasing is bad for everybody. Making sure that those people feel like they're included, even if they're not at the same level as everybody else in the group, is incredibly important. So much that I've had a player who's the newest player for Age of Sigmar group come up to me and say, hey, I really want to thank you for making this. I would have no idea how to start this if it wasn't for this group. And, he talked about how he had moved from another state and he didn't know anybody. And, he was really thankful that this group was here and that we were as welcoming and as accommodating as he built up his army and was wanting to learn how to play. Part of that was, his army's not painted. That's fine. Like I talked about in my first video, I don't think making paint a requirement to participate in a regular gaming group meetup situation is a good idea. I think that provides a barrier that isn't necessary and certainly doesn't promote the things that are best about this hobby. And another thing that I always make sure to tell my players, because of how this is structured as kind of like a loosely organized open play, is I let them know that this isn't an obligation. You don't have to come every week. I would love if you did, and you're more than welcome to come every week, but you don't have to. If life happens and you're not able to come, that's fine. Don't feel bad about it. Part of what enables me to do that, though, is that me and my team have a person, it's either myself or somebody else that we have already appointed, that they are the person that sits out if we have an odd number of people. Now, that's important because one of my biggest guarantees for anyone who comes to play in our gaming group is that when they come to play, they're going to get to play. That guarantee is so important. I've been to game stores and I've been to gaming groups where if you show up, you're not necessarily guaranteed to get to play. And these are 1v1 games, more or less. You can set up multiplayer games and everything like that, but not everyone's really into that. And actually, that's kind of an outlier more than a standard. Usually you get that kind of thing among friends and people who know each other already. Or even if it's like a league situation or something like that, where people have an expectation that, they're advancing their game and they're, accruing points or whatever, so they get to play. I really think it's super important that everyone who comes to your game night gets to play. And if you're the only person that's running your game group, you don't have a team of people or just another partner behind you to help you with that, then that usually means that it's going to be you. Like I've often said to people who talk to me about this, and sometimes half jokingly, sometimes seriously, when I am just kind of walking around watching games and answering questions and stuff like that, and they ask me if I'm the odd man out, and I say, yeah, sometimes that's just the price of leadership. And that's true. You being able to guarantee that people who come to play with you and play with the group are going to get to play is such a huge draw. Mainly because, and depending on where you live and what the scene is like around you, this may be this person's only time during the month or in these 2 weeks that they get to do their hobby, that they get to enjoy their hobby. Them taking the time out of their day or out of their evening to come and play with your group, knowing for sure that they're going to get to roll dice, is such a huge boon to your group and your group's growth, because word of that will spread. Now, it does mean that you personally will get to play a little bit less. For me, the way that I solve that is I try to organize a game with one of my friends sometime later in the week. Or I have a regular game night that's just me and a couple close friends. And that's how I make sure that I keep my passion and I keep my enthusiasm for the hobby, because I won't lie, it's not a ton of fun to sit out. Sometimes, too, you're going to be called upon to be the person that helps teach the game to other players, especially with a new edition of the game coming out, referring to Warhammer 40k 11th edition. There are going to be people that come into your group that, if your group is playing 40k, that are going to want to learn how to play. They picked up the Armageddon box, they thought it looks really cool, but they don't know how to play. It is your job to step in and be that person. And, sometimes those learning games aren't super interesting or fun for you, the experienced player. That's okay. It's an investment in the future, because if you show a willingness to sit down and teach this person how to play and help them learn how to build their army and what direction to take their army in, you're going to have somebody comes and plays with you for a long time. They're going to spread the word that, hey, this is the person to come talk to. If you want to know how to play 40k, you come talk to this person. If you start to accrue that reputation like that, then you're going to have players. You're going to have people that constantly come in and want to come play with your group because you're the person to go to. At that point, recruiting and bringing new people in starts to become a lot easier, because your group is already doing the hard work for you, which is bringing people in or telling people that, hey, if you're into this game, come play it here at this day, because we have this great group that loves to play. I think that is one of the big engaging principles of running your gaming group. It's not super important exactly what activity is or how you organize people playing together, as long as everyone gets to participate. Some places, they like to do leagues. Leagues are not something that I care to do, partly because I think it widens a divide between competitive players and more casual players, and can cause people who think about the game differently and engage with the game differently to not have great experiences together on the tabletop. But that's just my personal experience. Other places, leagues work great, and people have huge leagues and they go on for weeks. And the only big advice I would have for leagues is that if you decide to run one, make it easy to join. You know, if someone new comes in and you're in the middle of a league and they ask if they can participate, the answer should be yes. Find a way to say yes to that question. Making it hard to join means that person will probably walk away. They might not come back. Other thing is, like people have done in the past, is campaigns, narrative campaigns. Speaking, narrative campaigns work really well when you have a bunch of like-minded people in your group and people that are okay chaining together their games and their experiences over the course of several weeks. But the same principle applies from leagues. You can't make it hard to join. Because once again, if this is your bi-weekly meeting or weekly or monthly or however it is that you've organized your gaming group, and someone new comes and wants to participate and you turn them away because you're in the middle of a campaign, well, that's going to really discourage them. Other thing that people tend to do a lot is run one-day events. I love running one-day events. It's one of my favorite things to do. Our group tries to run one every quarter for Age of Sigmar, and we're probably going to do some for 40K now that 11th edition is out. The big thing about one-day events is having a lot of prep work beforehand, making sure you have the space, making sure you have the terrain, making sure you have the date secured wherever it is you're going to hold it. Like if you're doing it at a game store, make sure you talk with the game store owner that, hey, we would love to run this event. Do we have the space and the time for this on this day? Or if you're renting out a space for it, you know, making sure that you worked out the costs and what you're comfortable risking financially for yourself or for your group, however you have that or the group's finances organized, and making sure you have the time and the terrain and all the materials that you would need for something like that. One-day events are great. I do think that it helps to remind everybody that it's just toy soldiers. It's not super important. That kind of helps diffuse a little bit of the overly competitiveness that can come along with miniatures war games sometimes. I don't think being competitive is bad. I think being competitive is good. I actually enjoy playing against a person when they do care about the outcome of the game, and, you know, not when they care overly much where they're going to be upset if they lose or, you know, overly joyous if they win, but someone who wants to do well and wants to see their forces do well. I'm the same way. I want to see my army do well. I try my best. And, you know, sometimes it usually doesn't work out, but that's beside the point. One-day events are a great way to further solidify your gaming group together. Everyone comes together for a day of playing together. You know, usually they share meals. Usually people just sit and chat for a while. And I think it's a great thing to bring your group together. For some groups, depending what your schedule is, that may be this, you know, a once a month meetup where you just do Warhammer all day long is a great idea. And that's what works for your group. That's really the crux of the whole thing, is getting a feel for who shows up, what they want out of the hobby and what they want out of a hobby group, and helping to meet those needs. Now, of course, it comes with difficulty that a lot of people are going to have different feelings and different opinions about what they want out of those things. In fact, most of the time, you're not going to be able to please everybody. My solution to that, and what I've always said to myself and what I say to other people when they ask me questions about how to run a gaming group, is do what you would want to see, do what you would want to participate in. And if you just maintain that principle, first of all, it helps drive your own passion and your own enthusiasm for it. Because if you're doing something that just somebody else wants, or the way that somebody else wants, your own interest in that is going to be quite a bit less. So I really expound upon you to make sure that you do what makes you happy. And, you know, for me, what that looks like for myself is I just want to get people together to play. I just want to see everyone getting together and having a good time in the hobby. I'm not too worried about who wins or who loses. You know, the actual fate of the galaxy doesn't rest on any of these games. Nobody's getting, you know, fame and riches. Even the top, very tippy top of the wargaming scene is not really getting fame and riches. So in your own gaming group, in the back of your game store or wherever it is that you hold it, that's definitely not going to be the case. I really, more than anything else, like to see people get together. And that's why I hold weekly game nights, and I make it as easy as possible to participate in. Someone shows up and they've got 500 points. We're going to play a 500 point game. Someone in this room is going to play a 500 point game with that person, and we're going to make sure they have a great time. If someone shows up with, you know, 2,000 points of the latest meta, we're going to make sure they get to play and they have the kind of game that they want to have. That is what's most important to me, is just everyone enjoying the hobby. This hobby is meant to be enjoyed together. And yes, it's a competitive game where one person wins, one person loses, unless it's a draw, but usually one person wins, one person loses. But in spite of that, it's really a shared experience. And I think putting the emphasis on that is what's really going to help keep your gaming group healthy and keep you guys wanting to come together week after week. My 40K nights and my AOS nights are the highlights of my week almost every week. I want the same for you. Let me know, what, if you run your own gaming group, what do you do? What is the favorite things that you like to do? Let me know in the comments down below. Or if you have any questions or need advice, shoot them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer as I can. And as always, if you like this content and want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, check out our Patreon. Every dollar helps bring this content to you, and it helps us do some really cool stuff. And we've got some really cool stuff in the works. So if you support us that way, thank you so much. So thank you, and happy gaming.